what in the 20s is going
in the
on?
20s,
Think about
yes.
the 20s.
What
baby.
Plenty.
What in the 20s is
I
going
am
on?
here for my 20s, baby.
This is the 20s.
I've lost myself a couple of times trying to get to this moment. And I know that I should be proud, but you've got to understand I'm my biggest opponent. My harshest critic, my meanest friend. I promised I'd quit it, but it's just me and my ego in the end. I wanted so bad to have a breakthrough because of all the things life had brought me back to, like all the anger that I had conserved from all the loss that I did not deserve, the people that left, the dreams that died. I'm trying my best to trust the ride. I've lost a few races, been in dark places, wondering when it'll be my time to be in his good graces. I've wrestled with pain, got dreams down the drain, but I'll bet on my bounce back again and again. I'll put in the work, I'll put in the hours. I'll stay in the fight, gotta get back what's ours. I know my breakthrough is coming soon. Mark my words, I'm coming out the cocoon. I'm coming to change some things, shift some things, shape some things, build some things, make some things, break some things. I came today to wake something. I'm coming here. I'm coming back up. God, fill my cup. God, fill this place. Let your glory take up space. I'm ready. I feel it. I'm in it. I'm with it. I am your host, Mkize, and this is What's in the 20s, a podcast where you listen to... I am your host, Mkize, and this is What's in the 20s, a podcast where you listen to me grow through it, baby.
Silence when I sing a silence.
Let's get into it. Thank you, first and foremost. Today we're going to be speaking about out the cocoon, right? That is the topic. And how it came about is that when my mother passed away last year, I felt as though I was just going into a cocoon, you know? And I think there's many reasons we decide to go into a cocoon, right? Like you could be experiencing a heartbreak and then you're just like, you know what, guys, I need to kind of isolate for a bit. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to do this. I need to heal, right? We try to use that time to heal, to work on ourselves, to develop a routine. You know what I'm saying? Like we keep thinking like this is the space, this is the time for me to just like become better, you know? And I think that was like where I realized I needed to go into a cocoon because like the way that I was operating after she had passed, I couldn't connect with people. I couldn't connect with spaces. I wasn't happy, you know? And I knew that I needed to retreat a bit and isolate a bit, you know, so I could kind of figure out what's going on with me. And I think we love to always speak about the cocoon as this period where we are transforming, right? Because that's essentially what happens, you know, the whole process of a butterfly. And we kind of see it as like, this is where I'm getting me back and all of that kind of stuff. It feels so empowering. It's actually so exciting, you know, because you feel like you're building yourself, you know, you're structuring yourself into who it is that you want to be and all of that. I also think that, sorry, I'm laughing because I know what I'm about to say, but like, yeah, I also feel as though sometimes it may feel tough, right? The reason why I also felt like I was in a cocoon was because I was really struggling with like getting work. I was struggling. It felt like I was stuck, you know? I was struggling with like, it felt like my life was falling apart, essentially. I spent a lot of this year feeling like that. And I think that there's so many times where we may feel like this in our 20s, man. We just feel so stuck. Like we're looking at this vision of ourselves that we're trying to be. We're looking at all the things that we want to do and stuff, but it's like for some reason you can't have access to that thing. Like, why isn't this happening to me? Why isn't it happening for me? And all of that. And it feels so hard. It feels so crazy. Until I learned that if you thought in the cocoon was tough, outside the cocoon, and I'm gonna explain that, it's so easy to have boundaries when you're in the cocoon. When you go back out into the world, you know, when you go back out into those spaces that remember you for who you used to be, upholding those boundaries is a whole other conversation, If you think that it's so easy to go no contact with someone who, you're just better off without and stuff, wait till you see them again. Wait till you start feeling lonely. Wait till you start missing them. Wait till you start having experiences where you wish they were around and stuff like that. Like, oh man, if you think in the cocoon is tough, like there's just all these moments where you realize like it's so much easier to have a routine, to go to gym, to wake up and all of that when you're in the cocoon because it's safe, it's protected, it's sheltered and stuff. But now you go out, you're hanging out with your friends again and stuff like that. What happens on the weekend? It's really tough for you to get up Monday morning and all of that. It's really hard for you to maintain the obedience, right, that you kind of built inside the cocoon when you come out. It's really hard for you to maintain the consistency that you kind of had when you were in the cocoon and stuff. When you come out, it's really hard for you to uphold certain standards and all of that because we like to ship shape, right? Especially for the people that we love and care about. We like to move the goalpost all the time until you realize you're back to who you used to be, until you realize you're back in the same spaces, you're back with the same people you're doing. And like, I think that's what makes it so flipping hard, right? To reach some of our goals, because we were planning our goals in our cocoon, and we keep wondering, why am I making the same goals year after year after year? Why do I have the same resolutions? Why am I battling the same circumstances? And I think it's because we're realizing that it was so much easier when I was just in my room at 2 a.m. writing on my notes what I want to do, watching all the motivational content and stuff like that. But more than anything, we don't lack access, right? Because there's a lot of information. There's a lot of information on how to lose weight. There's a lot of information on how to, be this, be confident, all of that. We don't lack access to this information. We lack application, being able to apply what it is that we learned, being able to apply what it is that, we have experienced and whatever. I think that's a whole other level, right? That's a whole other thing that you're being called to. And I think also, man, it's so hard to really exist in the fullness of who it is you're meant to be because it requires you to disappoint some people. It requires you to have literally your nervous system kind of shifts, when you realize you just can't be who you used to be and stuff. It's so hard to do that. And that's why it's so much easier to go back to who we used to be. It's so much easier to go back into the cocoon and stuff like that. Because man, when I tell you being who it is you're called to be, being the sacrifices that you have to make, sometimes we don't feel prepared for that. Sometimes we're kind of I don't know if I'm trying to do that. But in your mind, you know who it is you want to be. In your mind, you know who it is you're trying to, whatever. But it's that same thing that feels so far, but it's actually so accessible to you, but it's we don't want to have to trade in who we are now. We don't want to have to trade in how we exist, right now to enter that space. Another thing, there really is a neuroscience behind this in a sense of making and planning goals is exciting, right? You get a dopamine rush, when you just, it's 4 a.m., you're planning your little vision board and all of that kind of stuff. You really get that little hit because what you're getting a hit from is the rush of anticipation, right? The excitement of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna change, oh my word, it's happening, type of situation. But it's not necessarily from becoming that thing. And I think that's the tough part that we don't really understand is we think that once we get there, we're gonna be happy and stuff. But the journey to it, because it really is just doing the same thing every day, that's what consistency is, that dopamine kind of goes down, right? And so it becomes boring. And so it becomes a lot more difficult for us to finish anything, because now we're having to teach ourselves discipline and all of that, and we might not have that, And we make the same vision board over and over because we just want that rush. We want a little bit of what's going to happen? What is my year going to look like? What is my this and that, whatever. But actually having to do it, our brain is actively kind of working against it because our brain likes being comfortable. And so it sends you back to the cocoon. Your brain likes what's familiar because it feels safer and all of that. So don't be too hard on yourself sometimes if you send that text, sometimes you give yourself grace because you are human and your brain really just is fighting against all this change and all of that kind of stuff. But it's more just understanding that there's so many things actively working against what it is you're trying to achieve, and you have to push past it, right? And so what are different solutions we can have? If there's this book called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, and he speaks about essentially having a jar filled with all the things you've ever accomplished, whether big, small, whatever it is, writes it down. I'm always on my notes. Every time I feel oh, I don't know how to do this thing and stuff. I go and I just start writing down everything I've ever done, whether it was in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. And why I do that is because it's a reminder that I have done hard things before. And I think sometimes we'll be sitting there feeling like, I don't know how to do this thing. I don't know how I'm going to, I don't know how I was going to put this, thing together today, whatever. But I was like, Zama girl, you've survived hard things before. You've done hard things before. You've achieved hard things before. This time is no different. And I think that if you just start doing that, just start writing down stuff like, okay, there was this time when I thought this wasn't going to happen and what it happened, just keep reminding yourself, because your brain also isn't good at remembering all the good stuff for some reason. Well, so good at retaining all the negative information and all of that, but like you need to actively work against that. Another book, Atomic Habits, they speak about how we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And how that is like, it doesn't matter that you can put all these goals and stuff together, right? If you do not have systems in place in your life that support the things that you want, you are never gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like if you are saying that I want this, like again, morning routine and stuff, but your habits during the weekend and all of that kind of stuff just don't support that. The people you keep around you, just what you do with your time and whatever, it's going to be so difficult to finish. And I think that if you just keep creating systems around you and start asking yourself those questions, like, what is this ecosystem that I've built around me that supports where it is I'm trying to be? I think you'll find that it's a lot more easier to remain consistent, if you actually become strict with that regime. There's another book called The Slight Edge, and they basically speak about how so if I eat a burger today, it's not going to kill me, right? That's why it's so easy to not choose the salad, because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be fine. And then you do it the next week and the next week and the next week. And that's the thing, what you do, your decisions and stuff and your habits, today it won't kill you, tomorrow it won't kill you and stuff. A year later, you're sitting with diabetes and all the rest, And every single day, we are the sum of all the choices we make. I think sometimes because in the moment it doesn't feel so deep, you're kind of just like, it's not that bad. Come on, let's just go out. Let's just do that, whatever, And I get it. Like, I'm like all the time, like, oh, I'm so young, let's live, whatever. But then what it is like our life really is, it's who we are really is all the choices we've made, And I think we like to think of it as the grand scheme of things, like I'm a good person though, I'm a this and that. But like if you start tracking your track record, we don't like to do that. We don't like to hold ourselves accountable, And so I think just keep recognizing that every decision you make and stuff, it's either taking you this way or taking you this way, or it's keeping you the same, And you're in charge of how that's going to look, how you want to end that year and all the rest. And so, yeah, I think more than anything, another thing also, put a value on yourself, I think that too much we're letting other people decide for us what our value is and stuff. And people are very comfortable deciding for you, what they think you deserve. They're very comfortable deciding for you how much of your space they can take up, your boundaries and all of that. Like they have no problem, And I always say like the only people who have a problem with you having boundaries are people who are benefiting from you not having them. And so if people are now touched and all of that like, oh, why are you saying no now? It's because they enjoyed the access that they had and the privileges they had to the things that, you were just allowing. And so I just feel like when you decide to put a value on yourself, put a, man, you gotta know who you are, I think it just, and also start behaving as that version of you that you claim to be, and make decisions based off of that, instead of just like a wishful thinking, like, oh, one day I'm hoping not to, I always use this example. One day I hope not to smoke or whatever. If you just tell yourself like I'm not a smoker, you're just not going to be interested in doing it. Like instead of just planning for the future, make it, your presence. The final thing that I want to say as to how to, survive on the outside of the cocoon is take God with you. Anywhere you go, whatever you do, whatever it is, take him with you, Tell him to go before you even, to prepare the room before you even enter, that whatever decisions you make, whatever you accept, whatever it is, pray that it's from his hand and stuff like that, because you really could find yourself in somewhere that you don't deserve to be in, but because, you didn't consult with the giver of all your blessings and stuff like that, you looked at the shiny thing and said, I'm going to accept it and stuff, that could be an issue. But like, yeah, that's really what I want to speak to in terms of out the cocoon. But now I want to bring my two friends. We've been friends for 21 years now, and we're just going to be discussing the cocoon in friendships and stuff, because it gets a little tricky, But yes, please help me welcome my two friends, Gontse, Chuma, and Ntsei Molomo. You good?
Yeah. Hiya.
Hi. Hello.
What it do?
How y'all doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm so happy to have you guys here. Thank you for joining today. Why I wanted to bring you in was because I feel like we speak about our transformative periods and stuff like as individuals in isolation and stuff, but there's also communities around us. There's also friendships around us, and it affects who it is we are as an individual, affects everything around us. And I wanted to start like by asking, has there ever been like a period for you guys where you felt like you needed to go into a cocoon, and like why did you feel like you needed to?
Oh, can you guys hear me? For me, it was this April when I went through, you guys know. So this year I basically went through a breakup, and that's the first time where I felt like, you know what, here's where I really need to start. I need to isolate. I need to gather myself. I need to heal. So yeah, that's when I felt that. Yeah.
For me, it was also this year, funny enough, but with work. This year, accidentally, I just became important at work. I just became important at work, and I was put in a position to carry out management responsibilities, and I'm so young money.
What the hell?
So a lot of my time, I realized that doing that requires a lot for me. Like I'm rolling with the big dogs.
Yeah.
So it requires a lot from me now. And I don't have as much time to be young and turned. So it's been quite lonely, and it still requires a lot of resilience from me. So yeah, that's what I could say was happening for me.
And how do you feel like when you go into a cocoon? Like, do you like isolate and stuff? Like, I'm talking about from your friends, right? Not necessarily from the outside world, but like, do you pull back from them, or are you still communicative? Are you still responsive? Are you still can I access you? Can I call you? You know, when I need to.
Please.
And stuff? Please. No, but I'm being real. Like, how do you guys kind of navigate your guys' cocoons and stuff? Because I know for me, when I was in it, so we all went into our cocoons this year and stuff.
Yeah.
But I know, for example, I wasn't. You guys could have, I wasn't around, you know, like to a point where you guys just started doing things, you know, on your own and stuff, because I just was not like
Available.
Yeah.
The thing is, I was, but I wasn't. Yeah, exactly. I didn't have the capacity, which hurts and stuff. But like, is it the same for you guys, where you kind of just feel like, I actually don't, or because I still feel like you guys communicate the entire time.
Yeah.
How do you
were
do
kind of
that?
AWOL this year, actually.
I was definitely. But like, how do you guys do that? How do you guys maintain those relationships?
I feel like with my cocoon, because it was a breakup, like I really needed you guys. Like you really need a community when you go through something so painful and so like it's so confusing. It feels like, you know, a rug has been like, taken from under your feet. So yeah, that's how it was. It was easy to always just call you guys because I'm dealing with so many emotions. I'm thinking out loud.
For me, I don't want to not be in contact with my friends. It's just that I haven't been able to. So I've been appreciating you guys calling me because I need that. But I wouldn't say that I withdraw. If anything, I need you guys, please.
So bad.
Yeah, so I would always make the time to call whenever I can, because that really, makes life make sense again.
And did you guys like battle with like loneliness and stuff when you were in the cocoon? Because I know for me, those were experiences I had. Like, I feel like grief is so isolating because I don't, you guys are not going through what I'm going through, but I can't expect you, so I kind of felt like I didn't want to bring it up or talk about it because I'm like, are you guys even going to hear me? Are you going to feel what it is that I'm, so it's like, sometimes I feel like when you're even going through a heartbreak, another friend could be so in love and all of that, and it's just like they're telling you all the updates, all the things that you won't believe what he did today. And you're literally just like breathing through the room. Wow, so happy for you. Happy for you. I love that friend. Love it. So nice. And you know that love. Yeah. And your tears swinging. A rock. I'm so. Because I've been thinking thinking like, man, imagine like you're just done venting, and she's like, okay, anyway, so you know what
my
happened?
man got me a bouquet of flowers and like literally, like,
Valentine's Day. So I'm like, oh, I hope you guys are. Like,
So no, the thing is,
post
so
the
what are you
pictures.
guys doing for Valentine's?
What are your plans? Yeah, all my pictures and stuff like like how do you find it lonely, or how does it affect, I guess, like your mental wellness and stuff like that when you're in it, you know? Because as I said, for me it was just I felt so alone in it, but not because of you guys, because you were there. It was just like you weren't going through what I was going through, which is so tough.
It was a lot for me personally. There were just some times where I would be up like working insane hours, working through crazy things, and I'm like, wow, I'm in the trenches, and it's the same thing, like you guys are not doing what I'm doing, and you guys don't know how hard it is for me. So there's a lot of loneliness that comes with that, but I always try and encourage myself and say like, oh, there's a bigger picture. This is what will be rewarded to me at the end, or this is what I stand to gain at the end. So I always try to have like a positive outlook. That's just how I get through the loneliness personally.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, because like, sometimes, I mean, we are a trio, right? So sometimes one person isn't going out with the other person type of situation, but it's, for various different circumstances. So I'm thinking about you speaking about work. Sometimes you'd be working on the weekend and like say our stories are just like out. And
Like I think that happened like 2 weekends ago, and I was like, oh, like that's Squidward meme.
yeah, just watching from the inside, like, oh wow, you guys are having fun. Like, how does that how does that make you feel? Because you're so focused on what it is that you're doing, but it's just like everyone around you.
I just wish to be involved. Honestly, it just feels so sad and miserable. Like in that moment, you're just there, like with the laptop in your face, with the phone. It really feels like so lonely, and you're like, look at them having fun and bonding, and I'm just here in the trenches. It really sucks. Like the thing is that in that moment, there's just nothing. You're just in it, and it's okay to just be in it. You're just in it.
Have you guys felt like you've had to outgrow a friendship? So say you come out of the cocoon and you're just not who you were before it, and now you're hanging out with these people and all of that, and you kind of just like, I can't do this no more. I can't chill with these people no more.
Yeah. I kind of went through something like that. When I was with said ex from the breakup, you hang around, we're always outside, we're always going to events, you're always in the mix. And sometimes being in the mix it tends to be messy. And I remember when I came out of my cocoon and my healing phase and whatever, there are certain friends where it's party Friday to Monday, every single like day of the weekend we have to be out, and it just doesn't hit the same anymore, So there's a friend that obviously like where I feel like like things have definitely changed, like post post coming out of the cocoon, post realizing that, you know what, friend, last year was fun. Yes, we used to go out every Friday, Saturday, whatever. But this year is different. Like, I don't want that for myself anymore. I don't want to live like that anymore, So, yeah, I went through that. It's very lonely. It's sad because, like, last year, you would have never thought you would be here.
Yeah.
Like, that dynamic would change, So, yeah.
When, like, they show you your memories from a year ago and stuff. It's just...
like, oh.
Mind you, it's always the memory that you're trying to forget.
And you're like, who is that?
It's, oh man, that's really tough. And how do you even navigate having that conversation? Like, do you feel like it means a friendship breakup has to happen? Because I know, like with us, the same thing happened in the sense of like, I was like, guys, I actually can't go out with you anymore. And you guys were like, okay, so tell us what you want to do, because we still want to hang out with you. And I thought that was really kind, because it's not like this is the only way we can exist as a friendship. There must be other things that we can do, you know? And I think, when you guys said that to me, I felt so like, oh, y'all still want to like hang out, let's do your breakfast.
I'm still cool.
You still want me? Because I thought that kind of meant, I thought it kind of meant that I wasn't relatable to you guys anymore, that I wasn't like as, like as fun and stuff, and that you just wouldn't want to, when an event comes up and you'd be like, don't involve Zama, like it's just,
she doesn't want to come.
She's going to say no anyways or whatever, but it's like, the fact that you guys still had like a, let's figure something else out.
Holding space.
But do you feel like it means the end of a relationship, for the friendships you've had that you've outgrown?
I mean, I don't think so. I don't think it means the end. I think it just means now we have to adjust. Like now it's about to become something different. Like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, it just means the dynamic just has to change. Like, for example, like, I'll give the example with a friend where we used to go out all the time, and now this year, instead of always saying yes to these plans, I'll be like, oh, but there's a games night happening. Let's do that. And that's like maybe once a month. It's like, I'm trying to still find a way to have fun with you, but just not as consistently as we used to do, you know. And
You have to see it to the very end. Like, I'm such a... So if anyone knows me, they know that I'm the ride or die friend. I will see it to the end, even when there's nothing else to see. So like me squinting like this. But I will always suggest things because the thing is, I'm understanding, you know, like you're not the person that you used to be, and I want to show you that I'm there.
I understand,
You know, I think the moment that I see that man is when I try to meet you at where you're at, and you're still like, it's not, I feel like sometimes you can tell, man, like you are trying to meet someone at where they are, and also trying to come up. We had a friend who went through this crazy phase, and they were, you know what I'm talking about? Like, and we were really trying, like it was just so far removed. Like that's like your friend waking up and they're into rock and they want to wear black. It's like, oh, okay. You know, and that's borderline how it was. And we're like, oh, okay. And I was really trying to like, put something funky, you know? But like, it really just got to a point where it's like, yeah, you're losing me. And it's not even that you want to be lost, like you know, it's just like an organic thing that happens. So I will always see it to the very end, always try to because we're growing, and when I become your friend, you're in a 360 deal. We're doing this forever. So I'm always going to try to learn what you're doing, where you are, until it's not working. Then it's tough.
Yeah. On that point, I'm going to ask a couple of questions and you tell me how you navigate yes, no, because you were just mentioning like, if a friend is in a phase and you have no idea how to navigate it, right? So say, for example, your friend goes into a cocoon, comes out and has now decided to be more spiritual in a way that doesn't necessarily align, you know, whichever spirituality they may, you know, choose and all the rest. How do you navigate that, you know, because, you know, I think it consumes so much of who you are, you know, and how deep or far or whatever they may go in whatever spiritual way, you know. How do you guys feel about those type of situations, you know?
Yeah.
Because at the same time, you want to be respectful, right? If they feel like, say, for example, they're called to something or they, you know, practicing something else or different. You know, there's so many different things that you might not understand and all the rest. Do you feel it is your job to learn and, you know, become understanding because this is your friend that you care about? Or is that a boundary for you where you are unable to just connect with that? Or, you know, like there's so many different ways. I mean, it's really tough, you know, but they went away for a season and they came back in a very different space, you know, and how do you navigate that?
I feel like I'm willing to learn as much as I can about whatever it is that you are going through. Obviously, I'm a peasant. I'm also a peasant.
You're just a person.
I'm just a peasant. I gotta put me first as well. But there's certain things that even with my own beliefs, I'm not willing to cross them. So I will educate myself on what you believe in, and I will show up. Like if you are going through a certain trope, if you have like a event or like a prayer or something, like I can show up or, you know, stand beside you, but not me necessarily being in it. I can just be adjacent.
So like even if they were to invite you to like, oh, we're doing
The judgmental face.
they're like, no, come, we're gonna be doing this. How, you know, are you still willing to be supportive in those aspects and stuff like that?
I think it depends on like if with like as being a Christian and the way like my religion is and whatever, it's like if I can see that this is going to make me uncomfortable or, you know, put me in a very compromising position. It's like those are things that you just talk to your friend about. Like, look, friend, I love that you celebrate this, and I know it's your culture, and I know it's this and this. Unfortunately, the way I was raised and stuff, we don't necessarily resonate. But I will send you your flowers. I'm supporting. I'm there in spirit. I love you down. But like, this is just something where it's a bit tricky because I don't necessarily believe in that. So I think there are other ways to show up instead of just being there,
What if your friend goes into a cocoon and like plain out just ghosts you? Like, you're texting, you're calling, you're this and that, and they're just like, I actually, you can't reach me, because they're in a season and all of that kind of stuff. But like, they're just unreachable or whatever. And then they come back, like say it's 6 months or whatever it is. And how do you feel about that?
I don't know about that. So
Okay, I think it's also important to factor in the kind of people that we are when we answer these questions.
I don't believe in that. I think communication in any relationship, whether it's friendship or a relationship, it's very important. So if
Communication is a key.
it's a key. So when you know that, look, it's like going down in my life, like it's, then just communicate, guys. I'm gonna take a few weeks off. Like I'll check you guys though.
Okay.
But if they just ghost, then you can already see where you stand with this person. Or see, they don't actually care to let you know that. Like
And then so your friend comes back and they are, because of whatever they experienced in their cocoon, they are strict. But when I say strict, like, they become judgmental of you, like, oh, you still do things like this or whatever you still what, oh, why are you dressed like that, why are you what's up with that?
That's the
You
thing.
still do those things?
you still do that?
You're still smoking hubbly. That's the thing. Also, let me just say that I'm more of a straightforward person. I'm a bit on the strict side, but I won't be two ways about something, right? So if you're gonna come out of the cocoon and now you're better, like my other thing is, I have to ask you then, why are you still hanging out with me if you feel like you're better than whatever it is that I'm doing?
Yeah.
It's I have to it's a you thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I wouldn't I have to take it back
The
to
Uno
you,
reverse.
because it's like, we smoke and we trap every day. Why are you at the trap house with us asking us why we're trapping? Like, it seems like you've got to go.
No, that's real,
and you have got to take whatever you did in the cocoon and put it in the real world. Fly. Because we're not good for you. So that's the thing. Like, I would have to ask you, like I would let it go like a couple of times. Like, what if you're just, you're just saying that, and then I'm like, oh, it gets to a point, like, you really do wonder why we're smoking. So I have to ask you, like, why are you still hanging with us when we're blowing O's every day?
Yeah.
And then, so my thing is also with the ghosting thing. I think
tornado. Yeah.
And you push the O.
when you push the O. So even with the ghosting thing, I feel like people won't always. I know it's not natural, but when you're going through things, like, you just go through things. Like, sometimes you go through your own things and you're not like, hey guys, by the way, I will be away. Like, you will not always do that, which is fine. But if I call you, and I'm going back to the ghosting thing, if I call you and then you don't answer, I mean, that's fine. Maybe you'll text me back or something. But like, we're on like month 4 now of me trying to get lost lover back. It's just, I can see that it's one-sided.
You don't rate me.
Yeah, then you just, it's really the thumb. It's okay. It's okay. Thanks. Yeah, because what if the person actually just doesn't want to be your mate anymore, and is not those people that has the courage to cut it, and you're just there every day, like outside the window, like begging to link. So you just let it go. Honestly,
It gets to a point.
Yeah.
What if your friend, right, comes out of the cocoon and all of that, has decided who they are, and they just stop inviting you to things, like they meet new people, different whatever.
that's actually happened to me.
They're just like, actually, I'm in a different, space. I don't need this person around, whatever. But like, they still contact you, like, they'll, hi, whatever. But like, you're just not a part of who they are now. You know.
I actually was in a situation like that a few years back with these friends, and I saw them out, and I think on that day there were like 5 men deep. So I was like, so 5 men, no one said,
Not even one person.
Like, I was like, Like, so no one, like out of 5 people, no one was like,
They were having
maybe.
the time of their lives.
Like, are we missing? No, guys, we're finished. Let's go.
Done, yeah.
They even invite a stranger, like, no,
You can join us, you know. So, and then the other time we were sitting, and they're like, yeah, like that time at Spur, and I was like, oh, what time at Spur? When was that? You know, and then I saw that, oh, like maybe I'm the one that's like killing the vibe. And I just honestly, I took it for what it was. Like there was a time, and I was best friends with this person, and they became best friends with the other person that we were friends with. It's like, you know, just love hanging out with my best friend. I personally haven't seen her in so long. So who was she hanging out with? I saw that, oh, it really hurt. I was on my knees, and my parents were like, you know what, girl, you will be okay. You know, like it was at that level. Like it really was at that level. So when you see people come out of the cocoon and feel like, you know, Ntsei is just so, like you really have to like accept that
Hold
they
that.
don't want you there.
Yeah.
And also they're not willing to like bring you with. So it's another case. It's okay.
We've all went through that experience.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Because what do you do, honestly? Because even if they're like, yeah, sure, like some things that we didn't mean, there's always going to be like a snooty, like, yeah, you know, it's just that we didn't mean to. We did want to have you there. They're always gonna
That's the
say
thing,
that,
right? Is
Yeah.
that if you even try confront it, you're never gonna get the real answer.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
there's always gonna be an excuse or this or whatever.
No, I didn't know we were supposed to invite you. Literally, it was we were talking. Zama organized it. Now Zama's looking like no, but the thing is that I didn't think it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be like that.
Have you ever been in a situation where, because of, you know, when your friend has come out the cocoon and stuff like that, you stop inviting them because of where they're at and, you know, what they're going through? You kind of just feel. So I use the example when I was going through my cocoon earlier this year. I had to accept that you guys would have to now go do your own things, you know, by yourself and stuff like that. But like, yeah, do you ever find those situations where like now because of who they are, you just don't include them in things?
No. No, no. Like Zama, even if you were going through things for like 6 months, we're on. Like we always on. We always on until we're
Yeah,
out.
that's
Like,
beautiful, yeah.
Like, and I feel like, you know, not everything can be like I can't speak and put everything in. Sometimes it's a vibe thing, you know. Like you guys know, man. Sibadala, you know. So I've never been in a situation like that. I'll just be there for you. Until you are the one that I can see that no, spiritually you're just switching up now.
You're
like I
just a
can
bit
tell that it's not
different,
like you're going through something and you just need some time. You're actually just moving on with your life. But if it's a case that I can see that you're just going through some things and it's really whatever, we can really always and we will always be there.
Sure. How did you guys get your lights back, your spark back, coming out of the cocoon and stuff like that? I mean, you just mentioned that you went through it because you were going through a breakup and all of that. Like, how did you find it? Yeah, coming back out and getting your light.
Number one, the gym. I literally joined the gym 2 days after the breakup. That's how like
You were going through it.
Yeah.
like I joined the gym. I've been so religious with the gym ever since the breakup. Going back to church like religiously again as well after the breakup. Journaling every day.
Sorry, you know when you said going to church, I'm thinking about like when people say like that's the final
The final stage.
after going through the craziest thing,
religious
you go
stage.
back to Christ. But yeah, sorry. Yes.
So that's journaling every day, like you know, looking inward, like journaling, reflecting, all those things. Like, and you know, you can always dream about like the kind of person you want to be, especially like after the breakup. Obviously, you're gonna see all your flaws. Everything is like so exposed and whatever, and you can see the kind of person you're trying to become. And I was just trying to work towards that person, basically. So I think that's how you can get your spark back after something like, you know, a breakup, and then you got into like a cocoon, and then now when you come out of it,
So then what are your boundaries now, you know, coming out of it? Because now you're saying you go to gym religiously and church and stuff like that. So like, what is it for you that you kind of just feel like if your friend is suggesting this or doing whatever, it's kind of like, no, we're not doing that. I've got church on Sunday or whatever that it is for you guys. Your boundaries.
Well, now for me, like as I said, like obviously last year I was on a very like groovist kind of a time, you know. But this year I still love to have fun. Obviously, like we're in our 20s, like let's have a good time. But just in moderation. That's all it is. It's not going to be every weekend now. It's more like just like, look, I have to explain to certain friends that if, let's say we went out this weekend, the next weekend they're like, yeah, again, and then again. Like, I'm just like,
again.
like, yeah. So it's just explaining, and yeah, you just explain, Kutsi, ish, to me, like last weekend was fun, but let's skip this one. This one, I just want to sort of breathe, relax, and then maybe next weekend, whatever you guys are doing, like, let me know, like, hit me up. So it's like just soft boundaries. It's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so much like, I've changed my life. I'm only doing like, no, it's not. It's nothing like that. There's nothing like that.
For me, generally, I'm a very a disciplined kind of person, and I'm also the kind of person that you can't make me do what I don't want to do. I think you guys know me very well. If I want to do something, I'm a do it, and if I don't want to do something, you can't make me do it. So, for example, it's not really a boundary, but it's just like it's how I am. But I think to the next person, it's a boundary. Like I don't go anywhere I don't want to go, and I don't do anything. I'm the free will final boss. Like
You will,
I will exercise free will if I feel like, and it happens a lot when we're out. When like, oh yeah, let's go to Kai after this, you know, and I'll go there, and then halfway through, like I just said, I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling this. Anyways, guys, I'm
out here.
Like, how are you leaving already? It's like,
And you really will. Like, you don't
be there with the person, everything, and they're like, oh, it's been great, guys. Because the thing is, you know, sometimes people, I think it's a very decent example. We go out. Even if it's like one location, but now like we're halfway into the chill, it's like, it's alright, you know, Bazama invited us and whatever, and it's her thing, and you know, like I don't stay longer in any place if I don't want to be there. Also, because I'm a very expressive and obvious person. Like you can tell that I'm bored. You can tell I'm not really feeling the vibe.
That you're not having fun.
Yeah, and
like,
also you guys know, like if I don't want to talk, like I will not talk. So I also, if I can see that everyone is mingling in the room and everyone's having such a great time or something, and I'm just kind of like, I'm tired, and I just feel like I just want to doom scroll right now.
I feel like we're very different.
Yeah.
We will push.
Yeah, no,
we
you
will
guys,
push.
you guys will.
We can do 12 hours.
Be like, yeah, and then after that, we got home at like 2. And
So
I'm
where y'all
like,
going?
You know, because the other thing is, if I'm in a place and I just feel like, I feel like I don't want to, you guys don't deserve me bringing down the vibes. Like my vibe right now is so pop, you know, and I don't think it's worth it me staying here because I want to show face just for the sake of like, we're here. So you guys are having a great time. And if I stay longer in a place where I feel like, also it ends up being that mopey thing, are you okay? Should we make something for you?
All the attention is like,
It's like,
all there.
no. And then now everyone's one by one joining me at the couch. You know, like, yeah, now it's like this mopey thing. I'm like, yeah, guys, I'm just not, like, I don't do anything that I don't want to do. And no, you can't make me feel bad about it. Like, that's just how I am. Like, you shouldn't have lived. Well, I did, and there's nothing you can do. And the person who invited me here knows that, and I had good manners and I departed in peace. So I don't feel any ways about it. I don't do anything that I don't want to do. And that primarily stems from, like, I do things from the heart. So I don't want to be there on some half like, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I feel like especially if you're my friend, you deserve 100% of me. So I always go there to pick up the vibes, be like, have a lacquer time. And if it's not going to be that, and I feel like I could end up like sucking the life out of it or just being boring, I don't do that. I don't do anything that I don't want to do, because I feel like it's another thing where you, like earlier when you're saying you have to put a value on yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like if I stay longer in places or with people longer than I feel benefits me, I'm not, devaluing myself to a certain extent because I want to please you guys. And like, respectfully, who are you guys in the greater scheme of things?
Damn.
Like,
I'm sorry.
the thing is that because the thing is, you know, you go home after you overextended yourself longer than you know that you needed to be, and then you go home and you feel like they downloaded all your energy.
Yeah, it's almost like saying yes to somebody else is like saying no to you and stuff. But I feel like finally I just want to ask, like, what is the role that friendship has played in your guys' cocoon, both in it and coming out? So for me, I just saw that. I was like, you know what, I'll take this one. For me, I truly do not think I would be in this position I am today if it wasn't for like everyone here, you know. This time last year was very tough and very dark for me. And I think that if I didn't have people who kept caring, you know, who kept trying, who kept listening, who kept calling, who kept just wanting to be here, even when I didn't, like, I have no idea. I had no idea I was going to see this. And so I appreciate, you know, being able to cultivate the systems around me that allow me to continue doing what I do. And I guess I'm just curious for you, like, yeah, what are those roles for you that you found, like, friendship just, I mean, you mentioned earlier, even with your breakup, like, you were just, you know, calling all the time and stuff, like, you know, going through it and stuff. But, like, yeah, how has friendship impacted both in your cocoon and out?
In the cocoon, while I was still healing and all that, you guys were really there for me. Like, you guys, like, really, like, these 6-hour phone calls, the 4-hour phone calls, like, those really help.
Letting them know that it's 6 hours.
6 hours,
You know,
like, you know.
making breakfast. Yeah.
And, you know, friend, I remember I also called you so many times when I was crying and just couldn't make sense of so many things. And, yeah, you guys really, you were really there. And sometimes it just takes an ear. You know, they keep saying heartbreaks wants an audience, you know? But you guys were really, like, every single thought, any single dark thought, any single whatever, you guys were there through it all. So that's how I feel like friendship really, it really came through for me in that. I also don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for that support, if it wasn't for you guys pouring into me, you know, us going out, us, you know, going to have fun, festivals, all those things. I don't know where I would be. So that's how it has helped me when I was in the cocoon, yeah.
Yeah.
If
you want to share.
I think my friends have really held me down. One thing they really do is validate me a lot, and I need that.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, like, I will come with, like, a scenario, and Gontse does that a lot. Like, you know, I just feel like you're not wrong. You're not, I personally, and, you know, I'm like, you know, I kind of am, girl, but, you know, I appreciate the sentiment. You know, it's so, especially when you're dating, you need people that are going to validate you a lot, because sometimes whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, you really end up getting so lost in the next person. And also because you love someone, you always want to please them. So even if, like, you're in a situation, you're going to put yourself on the back foot because you really love this person and you want to see your thing through, and sometimes at the expense of yourself. So I think you guys always supporting me, always validating me, really gives me that confidence. Yeah, and I'm not wrong. So actually, let's rock and roll. You know, because before I speak to my friends, I'm just like, why? I'm such a bad person. I'm so terrible. Everybody hates me. You know, so, and I'm just like, I could just wrap myself up and just stay away because I'm clearly like a harm to humanity. Like, that's just how far gone into my thoughts I get. But when I speak to my friends and they validate me and they encourage me and support me, that's where I feel like, yeah, maybe, like, life is worth living. So I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for my friends being real and honest. Most importantly, being honest, because just because they validate me doesn't always mean that, you know, we're just,
Yeah, for sure.
being yes men.
It really is important that we're able to correct each other. I think sometimes we feel like a lot of fear in terms of doing that with the people we love and stuff. But I think if we're able to just be like, hold on though, like, actually this part right here and stuff. But yeah, I would like to open the floor for anybody who has questions and stuff that... Oh, you got... Please, I need this. Yeah, there will be a mic being passed around. But yeah, happy to take all of those. And
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for coming out today. Really appreciate it. You guys have been actually beautiful. I want to say this much. You guys have spoke so eloquently, so verbaciously. But
Expensive kind of English.
Verbacious.
verbaciously. Yes. I think I'm like the queen sometimes. Anyway, what I want to say is, where did you guys get your wisdom from?
From the Lord.
sure. For me, I would say a lot of life, but it's not to say that I've gone through a lot of it. I think I've learned to be a listener. And when you listen to people, you get to gauge a lot of knowledge, if that makes sense. Like, I think, so I spent a majority of my life before like my 20s being a people pleaser, and because of that I was just always in spaces where I put everybody else above me and stuff, and I just was able to just listen to what's going on in their lives and all of that, you know, even in moments where I wanted to speak up but I didn't, because I always felt like I could understand where they were coming from. Like, I think I have this ability to want to see the best or whatever, have like the humanity for someone, that because of that, like, even if some of the stuff could be so villainous that they're doing and stuff, like, because I feel like I understand their hearts and what it is, like, I'll always just try to, you know, put myself in their shoes. And I think like wisdom really comes from, it's not me, you know, like, I think it's me receiving people around me, being humble enough to welcome whatever it is. You never really know what someone is going through and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I think, I think I've grown in that sense. Like, I've built wisdom through paying attention to other people outside of myself, you know. And I think when you spend a bulk of your life just looking outside of you, you're able to just, you learn people. And I think that's, for me, was what happened, was like, I learned how to learn people. I learned how to listen. I learned how to have the skill to just like make the time in the space, because I think it's also nice when people are able to feel seen and heard. And that's what I was realizing with everybody. It was like lots of people weren't feeling that way. And I think if I can just make someone feel that, like, and then that's how you just kind of grow that. Like, you start hearing where someone's coming from, what they're going through, whatever, and how you can be that for them and stuff. And so, I think that for me was how I did it. I don't know if you want it. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Well, for me, I think the wisdom it comes from as you're saying, friend, it's a lived experience. Like, you know, I mean, at 26 years old, you've gone through your share of like heartbreaks, friendship breakups. You've seen a lot of things. And also just from my clients as well, I deal with women every single day, every hour. So you always hear all these stories, and also just being open to all lessons from all people of all ages and every walk of life. You will learn so much. Like, you will literally learn every single thing. And also realizing that you actually don't know as much as you think you know. Like, sometimes you're like, I'm 26, I know so much, I've learned. Like, you always have to be open to learning. Like, you don't know everything. Like, that ego death is very, very important. And realizing that, look, we're only 26. Even at 40, we're still going to be learning so many lessons. And
Realizing at 40.
realizing. So, I would say that's the way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Genuinely, God. And I really was not bluffing. I pray every day. I ask for wisdom from God every day.
Thank you.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Excuse me, you spoke about being in a cocoon, right? And usually that means prioritizing your healing, because no matter what you're going through, whether it's grief or a breakup, the world does go on. So you create that for yourself, you go internally and you do the work. But now, because your friends are also going through their own stuff, like you mentioned, you know, maybe one is in a relationship and they're in a happy place and they want to share that with you. So resentment does build up. But you're not there when I'm happy or when I'm going through certain things. You decided to go into a cocoon. Sometimes you don't even have the vocabulary to tell your friends what it is you're going through. So you withdraw. But they see it as, no, you don't want to celebrate my wins with me. So now coming back to that resentment and trying to have those honest conversations, like, what is your take on that?
There was a phone call that we had where they were basically calling me out and saying the villains. Me trying to hold it. And basically saying, Zama, it makes us feel like you don't want to hang out with us, you know. And I think, like, I don't know if it builds resentment for them, but for me, in the moment, I felt conflicted because I'm like, I'm going through so much, you know, like, I what do you want me to do, you know? But like, at the same time, I have to, if these are people I care about, that I love, surely I have to care about how I'm making them feel. And I think that was what was so conflicting, because I think when we go into our cocoon, we really prioritize ourselves in it, right? And what we're feeling and stuff. And it feels like everybody else is being unreasonable, having expectations for you and all of that. And I think it took me hearing them say this to zoom out of my problems a bit, And I think, when you're in the cocoon, it's just you, it's only you and all of that. But I also had to remember there is a time after the cocoon. And if there is that, who am I going to, you know what I'm saying, if I'm choosing to not bring them with me, And I think that was like, for me, what I remembered, like there is going to be a time when my grief doesn't suffocate me as much. And I can't now expect everyone to just be all jolly and all the rest and stuff like that. Like, I think I understand the resentment. I understand feeling so frustrated, but you have to remember there is a time after. And not to say that you shouldn't put what you're going through at the forefront, but I think if we are able to be considerate, and also as the friends receiving, I've opened up about how they were like, it's fine if you don't want to do what we want to do, but tell us what can, I think as friends, we also just need to change our expectations a bit, because we, as you said, we're all going through something, man. And I think that's just how I feel, is remembering there's going to be a time after the cocoon. And that's what has kept me just not giving into the resentment.
Okay, I personally have not, I feel like I'm always the friend that has friends that are in cocoons, and then, that's why I don't really have much to
Always
say.
going through something.
Remember with that one guy, I was like, girl, I haven't seen you in so long. Let's go out. So I'm like, I don't really have much to say because I'm always on the outside of the club. Yeah, but I can say for myself, I think I always hold space, even though I'm very vocal, but I always hold space for my friends and I think that's when you're saying there's a life outside of the cocoon. I think that's always where I come from. I'm always understanding that you're going through it, but you're not gonna go through it forever. So
not on my watch.
Not on not under my regime, girl. You will rise.
Yeah.
Is the question, how do you please repeat the question, please, for me.
Essentially, it is about the resentment that we may feel in the cocoon, right? Because you're going through something. They're in a different place. They're communicating everything with you. How do you deal with that?
I feel maybe if we use this heartbreak example for example, if I'm going through a heartbreak and then my friends are obviously getting into relationships, obviously I'll be happy for you, obviously you know how it goes, happy for you, whatever, we've been waiting for this and that, but it's also, obviously as a person, you're also just reflecting on yourself, maybe you'll say something and then I get triggered, but I also never want to dampen how you feel as a person when you're going through this and this, but resentment does, I'm a person,
You're just a person. You're just a person.
Yeah. But at some point it's also just that feeling of it is a bit of a
sting.
A sting,
It sucks.
It sucks. I have I even have a client now who's getting married now, and her best friend is going through a breakup of 6 years, around the same time. It's tough, You want to be there, you want to be there, you want to be happy.
Maid of honor.
Yeah, literally.
And you're in the trench.
They're very close friends, and it's you have to be happy, celebrate this love. You have to, and it's hard. You're a person at the end of the day. Yes, you can show up for your friend as much as you want, but it also makes you have to look inward. My heart is actually broken, or I don't know. It's a tough question. I don't know fully how to answer something like that, but I just know that it's not black and white. It's not. I don't think there's a right or wrong way, and there's nothing wrong with feeling a little bit of a pang in your heart when you want to be happy for your friend, but the situation.
It just shouldn't make you a weird person.
Yeah, just don't be bitter. Don't project. Don't be weird. Friend, that wedding dress.
Don't be weird.
No, be there for your, your friend. Be happy, but accept that, yes, I'm feeling some type of way, but let me not, you don't have to project it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, hi ladies.
Hi.
You look very beautiful.
Thank you.
I think I'm going to hone on this conversation. We're speaking about cocoons. I think go through various. I think life is going to bring various cocoons or times where you're brought into isolate. Yeah. How much grace do you give? Because I always say to people that there'll always be life that happens and life hits us in different ways. Yep. How much time or how much grace do you give your friends to say, what, I know this is a 10th cocoon of in 5 years.
Cocoon of 5 years.
But it's okay. I know you don't want to speak to, I'm how much grace do you give someone? Because life happens, and it really does happen. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Yeah. Can I answer? I had a similar experience, but it wasn't with friends. I had a partner that I feel was going through a cocoon. So I met him being this person, and along the way he was
Becoming.
and I could see that he's going through it, you know. And I think generally I'm a very gracious and merciful person, as long as you also hold space for me to coexist alongside you. And I will always say to him, like, you're not into this anymore, you're into that. What's up with that? Like, I'd ask a lot of questions because I'm also trying to build an understanding and paint up, because you're in it, but I'm trying to more or less get a picture of what it is you're going through, so I can then, once I have a picture, then I can start to imagine what that would feel like. So I always try my best to ask questions. I'm a very patient person.
Yeah.
So I will hold that space. I will ask the questions. If you're also like, hey, look at this, you know, I'm feeling like that. And I'm like, okay, you're like, now this is how I know I am growing with you. Because you're going to be cocooning for the rest of your life. So that's how you end up growing together. You just have to be patient, and hopefully the next person is also willing to share what it is that they're feeling, what it is that they're thinking, because I think that's where sometimes it gets a bit tricky, because sometimes you're in a cocoon and you feel like you only need to explain who you are when you're out of the cocoon. Like, I was in this, but I figured out that this is now the kind of person that I want to be. And then by the time you figure that out, you've lost us.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to say, yo, I'm feeling like this, I'm feeling like pink hair, and I'm feeling like that. And then we can grow with you and then brainstorm and be like, yo, remember when you went through that phase? And then it's funny, and then we grow with you. But if you don't call us and be like, yo, I'm thinking like, feeling like this. Oh, what does this look like? If you don't bounce what you are going through off of us, then you're losing us. And that's where it ends up looking like, oh, you're not patient. It's like, I can't be patient also for more or less what I don't know you're going through. Like, there has to be a sense of working with each other. Because sometimes people that are cocooning, I don't want to be that guy, but they have like the sense of victim mentality sometimes that comes with that. Like, you know, my friends just switched up on me. I'm now this person. And it's like, but you're not helping me to help you. So if you're also like, if there's someone here going through a cocoon, I would encourage that you just share those things, even though it's weird and it's cringe and it's whatever. Just share that with your friends. Even you would know that if I'm growing apart from them, I know that I brought them with me as much as I could to where I couldn't anymore. So you just have to have a lot of patience, really.
You know, just to quickly add on that, it's so tough because sometimes there's certain places where you have to go alone. I think there's certain experiences, there's certain points where God is trying to speak to you that other people just can't be in that space with you for. And I think it's so difficult because like you want to bring everyone along, you want to like include them in the thing, but like, yeah, I think some spaces really, you know that the only way you're able to hear from him or whatever is if you are in your, you know, by yourself. But I think also, because you said how much grace can we give, and I think if it ever gets to a point where it's taking away from like the value that you have on yourself, like now you're begging, you're pleading, you're this and that. If it gets to a point where, you know, you're trying and they're not trying with you, it's not mutual, it's not reciprocated, they actually don't care to salvage the relationship. Like, I think you can feel, you know, if this thing that you're pouring into isn't pouring back, you know? And I think sometimes we try because it's like, it's been a 10-year relationship, it's been a this and that, whatever. We try to come up with all these excuses, even on behalf of them. Excuses they didn't like tell you or have, but we decide for them, this must be the reason, this must be, but like if at any point it's taking away from like at the core who you know you are and your value and all of that, I think it's enough. I think it's a good enough reason for you to decide for yourself, actually, I can't stay anymore. I can't meet you at the place you're trying to. But like, yeah, that's just what I wanted to add. Thank you.
You ate that.
You did.
We got a question at the back there, please.
Okay, so I'll make mine quick. I just want to circle back to grief, right? Firstly, I want to ask you, what has grief taught you about God, and what has grief taught you about yourself as Uzama? What have you learned through that process?
I love that.
And I'm asking you this because I'm currently going through that. And today's actually like, you know what's crazy? Today's like my first day coming out of a cocoon.
Wow.
I literally left.
Welcome.
I left Johannesburg. I left Johannesburg like, I think it's been 6 months now. Yeah, 6 months ago. And because I lost somebody that I lived with, and I was like, I just need a break from Johannesburg, you know? And today being here and this topic, it's like, it's so timely. Like, it's so timely. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you. No, and thank you for choosing being here to be outside of the cocoon. I don't take it for granted. What a time, you know.
Exactly.
I don't take it for granted. You know, when my mom passed, the last thing I wanted to hear was just pray, Zama, just talk to God, just this. And that was because all I did was pray, you know, that she would make it and that this wouldn't happen and stuff. And it's really hard because people are asking you to trust the person who let you down, trust the, you know, entity that let you down. And so she passed in July. In October is her birthday. And I remember you were there at the time. We were in Cape Town. And when I tell you, I broke down so much, it felt like something was killing me from the inside, you know? And I truly, truly believe that a higher power was the only thing that could have saved me to stop feeling that pain. Like, there was nothing that anything on earth or, you know, a friend or whatever, because like this was so internal. Like, it's the anger, right, that you feel like, what is, like, how did this happen and all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's so above you. It feels so otherworldly. It even feels spiritual sometimes. And you can't go to war in the spirit trying to, you know, use worldly things. You know, you can't go to battle and consult with things that you're feeling on the inside, trying to reason with earthly stuff and people and all the rest. And I knew that, like, if I was going to get out of this, the only way I could do it was to turn to him, you know. And I truly, I think more than anything, that's what it taught me, is that, like, pain does happen. Things that are terrible and horrid do happen, you know. But if you really want saving, sometimes there's only one source, you know, and it's the greatest power. And I think when I speak about fulfillment, guys, like, I feel full, you know, and that can only be God. What has it taught me about me is that I'm a fighter, you know, like
Exactly.
Yes. I still show it up to work. I have a live podcast happening today, but like, how is that happening?
Exactly.
Exactly. Thank you. And I don't know what mind could have done that. What, you know, it must have been God's mind. You know, that's what it's like. I went back to the source, and it's a year later. And but I wish you just, all the best on your journey. Thank you for sharing. Sure. All right. I would love to thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So much for just sharing, opening up about our friendships, the things that we've gone through, and all the rest with everybody. I don't take it for granted. Spotify, I want to thank you so much for having me do this. You know, this has been such a privilege and an honor. To everybody in this room, I'm so full, and I never could have seen today, and I appreciate it so incredibly much. Thank you. I hope you travel safely. As always, I'm sending my love. Goodbye.
What
No, for
in
real.
the 20s is going
In the
on?
20s,
Think about
yes.
the 20s.
The 20s,
What
baby.
in the 20s?
Plenty.
What in the 20s is going on? I am here for my 20s, baby. This is the 20s.